Trade Union Congress leaders at a press conference in Abuja are warning the federal government about the danger in the trend of increment in tariffs on different services and commodities. The recent one is the Telecom's tariff hike being proposed by regulators and the operators within the sector. So the Trade Union Congress are warning that the federal government should cease all increments in tariffs in the interest of the Nigerian people or face the action from their members. I'm being joined tonight by the president of the Trade Union Congress, Comrade Festus Osifo, is live for us here in our studio. It's good to have you, Mr. President, on our program tonight.
Thank you so much, Shehu. Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers.
Yeah. It pinches, isn't it? The increment in the tariffs.
Yes.
And we understand that there's another sector that has just gotten a nod in tariff increase.
Yeah, correct.
Can you analyze for us because there are those who will say all of these services and commodities, that the inflation is going higher. Some of these services need a change of price regime, and that's the reason why these tariff increments are necessary. From your own point of view and your union, what are your views on it?
Yes, Shehu, thank you so much for that question. If you remember, just exactly a year ago, February last year, Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, we had a press conference. You know, before we went on to address Nigerians on that subject, we did some research. And part of what we came up with was the root cause to the incessant increment that we have been having. And it was very clear that it bordered on the FX regime and on the exchange rate. So as at then, February 2024, we made, our position was submitted to the SGF. We had a meeting with the SGF, we submitted our positions, and in that meeting, you have the Minister of Finance and all the big wigs, they were there. We made them to understand that if you continue to slide the foreign exchange of the country, that every other thing will start reacting. And that when they start reacting, you may not be able to curtail it. So we had that advocacy, we had that conversation, and they promised that, okay, that they are going to manage it better. If you remember, we were the first to come out early last year to start shouting that whenever there is FAC allocation, that there is a direct correlation between when FAC is released and the slide of USD in parallel market. So we identified that. We addressed the world on that. So now what we are all seeing today, Shehu, are the symptoms that we talked about last year, because we knew that if the forex continuously slide, the cost of things in the market are going to go up. We knew that the cost of the prices of PMS, prices of AGO, prices of electricity tariff, telecoms, they will all go up, because these parts that these people are bringing in from abroad, for example, they import these parts, they are priced in USD. Most of them, because they're an international company, so they always look at their P&L. They would put it in Naira, but they convert it to USD. So it was when we knew that it's going to lead to this, that was where we started shouting last year. Abe, after all the shout, initially the dollar started appreciating, but later it slided again. That today it's about 8,500 naira to a dollar. Shehu, if today, for example, if our exchange rate goes to 3,000 naira to a dollar, Shehu, everything you see today is going to move further. The cost of cars is going to be ×2. The cost of all imported items are going to move. And at times, even the things that you produce locally, for you to be able to afford the cost of the items you need, what you will do is that you are going to jack up the price. So that is the root cause that we have identified. So that is why today we did an appraisal, what happened last year and where we are today. If you check the press statement that we released, the communique from the National Administrative Council meeting of TUC, we tied everything back again to the exchange rate. Because even the CBN governor, Shehu, all the financial gurus, internationally, locally, they have all attested that our exchange rate is, that our Naira is undervalued. So if we know that is undervalued, there is a system that we know clearly that CBN could use in making it, bringing it to par where it ought to be. Shehu, today, we are at 1,500. You remember at the time, it was about 1,700. But there was mechanisms they use in bringing it down. If they want to take it down to 1,000 naira, they could. So what we are saying clearly from TUC is this. If our exchange rate goes today to somewhere around 1,000 naira, you see all these increments, there will not be need for them anymore. So that is the easiest way to address all these symptoms. All these are symptoms of the exchange rate regime that we have today in the country.
So, and you were very clear today that if the federal government, you want them to stop the hike now.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
But is that feasible?
Yes.
There's an agreement generally that there's probably a need for the hike. If you listen to, for example, the telecoms operator, they will tell you how long there is being the static nature of the pricing regime within that sector, and how inflation over the years have affected the cost of their service provision. But then nothing has really happened. And you do know that the cost of this particular clothing that you are wearing cannot be the same to 10 years ago for the same fabric, for the same design. It's almost agreed by a lot of people that there is a need in price change.
Yes, Sheung, get it clearly. For example, if you were buying before now, let's assume a Corolla car, an Uber driver that buys a Corolla car. He was buying that car before now, let's say about 4 million naira. But today, the price of that car has moved from about 4 million naira to about 10 million naira. What is responsible, Sheung? What is responsible clearly is the exchange rate. The USD price of Corolla is still the same. The price that the dealer will buy we import Corolla from all over the world is practically the same in terms of USD. Maybe we just imagine an increment. But what has now moved that price from 4 million naira when USD was around 500 naira to where it is today, maybe between 10 to 12 million naira, is that exchange rate regime. So for us, the easiest way to fix all these challenges, the easiest way to fix this problem is when we better manage our exchange ratio. If today the exchange, because what these people are saying is that some of these parts they import them, right? What they are saying is that the AGO they use in firing their base stations, the prices have gone up. So the question is this: why did the price of AGO moved from about 400-500 naira to over 1,000 naira today? The only reason the price of AGO moved like that is the exchange rate. So that is what we are saying, because the price of crude in international market has been relatively stable, because two things feed into the price of petroleum products majorly: the price of crude and your local exchange rate. So now if the price of crude has been constant and the exchange rate move, that is why we are now buying AGO with the amount of money we pay today per liter. So what we are saying is that the easiest way to fix all these so that this price increment will become minimal is when the exchange rate is better managed to somewhere around 1,000 or sub 1,000, because all experts, they've all said that the fair value of our naira, that even the CBN governor attested to at the time, that the fair value of our naira should be somewhere between 850 to about 1,000 naira. And I can tell you, if that happens today, Sheung, the price of PMS would be less than 600 naira. If our exchange rate today moves to that region, it will be less than 600 naira.
But how quickly can they achieve that?
They can. Sheung, they can. Let me tell you what happened.
But why are they not?
Okay. At a time, if you check somewhere last year, the exchange rate was appreciating. It came to somewhere around 1,200. But there were revolts from subnational government. The subnational government, they are now used to exchange rate around 1,500, because that is what gives them more money from FAC allocation. But we have told them that is actually pyrrhic, because why they knew as well that if your naira weakens, that you are going to spend more naira in maybe tarring roads, you will spend more naira in buying vehicles. But where you will not spend much more is actually on employee cost. And in this, most of the government in subnational, they spend between 40 to about 50-60% of their earnings on payment of salaries. So what they have done systematically is that they have encouraged the government to allow the naira to be weakened so that they will earn more money, because if they earn more money, then because about 40 to 50% goes to employees' cost, so that will now reduce. If, for example, they were earning before now, let's say 10 billion naira from FAC allocation, and they were spending, let's assume, 6 billion on payment of salaries and all that. Then with the exchange rate devaluation and all that, they are now earning about 15 billion. So what they will now be spending in payment of the employee cost, instead of 6 billion, maybe 6.5 billion or about 7 billion. So they are going to save more money on that. So that was actually what happened, that the exchange rate was not appreciating the way it was again because they mounted pressure on the system. So we know clearly that it is very, very possible for this to be done. It's very, very possible for CBN to bring out policies that will crash the exchange rate to somewhere that is the fair value. We are not saying
and you think they can do it within the next 1-2 months?
Let me tell you what happened, Shehu. In 2023, after the Naira was floated, if you check, you are going to see stability around about 697 Naira to $1. If you Google it, you are going to see it stabilized in that range between August, September, October, and somewhere close to November. You knew what happened because there was a meeting here in Abuja where the chief executives of the entire banks, they were brought together here in Abuja, and they had a meeting with them. All the people managing our economy, they were all there in that meeting. So they had a meeting. It was in Fraser Suite, where they all sat down together, and they told them that we understand that the fair value of Naira should be somewhere around sub 800. So what they should do is that when there is any bid that is higher than 800 Naira, they should reject. That was what banks were doing. Within that 3 months, they were rejecting any bid that was higher than 800 Naira. So Naira was stabilized between about 780 to about 800 Naira within that 3 months. But it was not later, that ceiling was now removed. All we are saying, Shehu, ask yourself, Nigeria has been an import-dependent country. It did not just start today. Probably before you and I were born, we were importing literally everything. So now, what has now changed? What are we importing today that we weren't importing before that has now made our Naira to slide the way it has done? So if we are importing all through our lives majorly, so we cannot now say that because of importation, because of the lifestyle of Nigerians, our Naira to dollar will go to where it is today. We know that CBN has the tool. They clearly do to manage our exchange rate to sub 1,000. And if that happens, Shehu, you will realize that a lot of things are going to go down.
Let me ask you, in the area, with the telecom sector, you know that the telcos are not government parastatals. And one will wonder that whether or not the decision is a business decision.
Yes, Shehu, we are not begrudging the telcos, like as I have said, because as of today, we know that their cost of operations has actually gone up, right? We know very well that the AGO that they are using to fire their base stations had gone up. We know very well that the PMS that they are using has gone up. So we understand that the socio-economic landscape with which they operate has changed dramatically. But what we are saying is that it is government responsibility to ensure that there is stability in your socio-economic sphere. It is responsibility of government to ensure that the economic outlook of the country is quite good and stable. So the tool that they have in achieving that, Shehu, which would the telco prefer? For you to increase your rate by 50% or for your cost of operations to crash? So how will your cost of operation crash if, for example, you are bringing in your full base station and the cost of bringing in your full base station, Shehu, let's say is $100,000, for example. That $100,000, because you make money in Naira. So what will now happen is that today, $100,000 is about 160 million Naira. So you will look for 160 million Naira to bring in a base station. But if the price crashed down, the exchange rate crashed down to, let's say, 1,000 Naira, instead of you looking for 160 million Naira to import a base station, all you will now do is to look for 100 million Naira. So what that means is that there will be savings in that regard. So what we are saying is that government has the tools and the wherewithal to be able to manage the landscape to ensure that the cost of doing business goes down. And one of the ways is that exchange rate, because that is the root cause of the problem.
Yeah, I know that NLC is, there's a committee, 5 members from NLC and the federal government, and hopefully, within the next 2 weeks, they're going to come out with their report. But what you have said today is that the government should stop tariff hike. And you gave a warning that if not, you are going to take action.
Absolutely, Shehu.
What is the ultimatum you are giving to government?
Yes, you know clearly what we had today is the National Administrative Council meeting of Trade Union Congress of Nigeria. So the NAC is like the National Working Committee, kind of. So after that, we have the Central Working Committee, and we also have the NEC. So the NEC will take the final decision. So the NAC was the one that met today that spoke. So where would, just before I came here, I was receiving calls from different government officials trying to explain, and I also explained my position to them. And Shehu, if you speak to most of them behind the scene, they quite understand what we are trying to push. They quite understand these positions. Because Shehu, if you know what the root cause of a problem is, why will you start looking at the symptoms? So all the increment that we are seeing today is actually the symptom of the FS mismanagement. So all we are asking is that let us sit down, let us look at how we will go back to that root cause, because we strongly believe that if that root cause is addressed, there is no need for these symptoms to prop up. The reason government today, let's assume something. Okay, look at what happened in 2023 when the federal government said subsidy was gone. Shehu, it was true that as at June, July, August, subsidy was actually gone in PMS. But you know what brought back subsidy? It was when subsidy was gone, the exchange rate was around 780 naira to $1. So truly, subsidy was gone. So for 3 months, subsidy was gone. But subsidy came back because the exchange rate now moved to over 1,000 naira.
Through the back.
Yes. Once the exchange rate moves, then the prices must move. If the price does not move, someone is going to pay for it. So if in electricity, government comes up and say today we are removing subsidy. Let's say, for example, they do that. When they are going to do that, because they will look at the exchange rate of 1,500, right? But if the exchange rate tomorrow moves to 2,000 naira, the price is going to go up, because there is a way you benchmark all these against USD. That's the reality, because there is a standard unit of measurement of money, whether we like it or not. And today in the world is USD. So all we are saying is that if you allow your currency to continuously slide, it will affect us generally. So let us go and treat the root cause, not the symptoms.
On a final note, you will down to, that's what you're telling federal government.
Yes, true.
You will go to the street.
Yes, correct.
How many days are you giving the government to?
Yes, it is the responsibility of NEC. What we have had today is a NAC meeting to bring about the sensitization. After that, we'll have a CWC meeting and NEC meeting. So it's the responsibility of NEC, of TUC, to give a date and to define the next.
And your members are in charge of the oil and gas sector.
Correct.
And some other sectors that are very crucial.
Correct.
To the running of the economy.
Correct.
And so you are holding the government by the jugular.
Absolutely.
That's what it means.
Absolutely.
Is that fair?
No, Shehu, is it fair for what has been happening to the masses? Is it fair that literally we are living from hand to mouth? So the challenges have been there, the problem has been there, so we must all sit down to clearly find solutions. And for us, we have identified the solution.
Are you trying to make life difficult for Bola Tinubu?
Not at all, not at all. They know that we are political. We are completely apolitical. I, for one, I don't belong to any political party. I've said that severally. So we look for what is to the best interest of the Nigerian workers and the Nigerian masses. What
if they move, because they are proposing 50%, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
So what if they change and maybe reduce it, maybe to 35% or 40%?
Shehu, that is the symptom. If you treat that symptom, tomorrow there's a need to increase again.
They have to do what you're asking.
They have to go to the root cause, Shehu. If you treat that symptom, even if you move by 50% today, Shehu, if the exchange rate slides, there is still need to move further again for those people to make money. So all we are saying is that we are not focused on the operators. We are saying that government must look at the macroeconomic environment and bring about policies that we help businesses.
But it's not only telcos that are planning on tariff.
That's what I said. They are all symptoms. They are all reactions to the exchange rate. That is the problem.
So all tariff must cease immediately. That's what they are wanting.
Yes, and the way it will cease is by managing the exchange rate better. If our exchange rate today, we can't stop saying this. We started shouting about this early last year. If our exchange rate is better managed, at the end, you are going to see that there is no need for that increment because the worth of a naira will be much more.
Professor Sosifo, President of the Trade Union Congress, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you, Shehu.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I wish you and your members the very best.
Thank you,
if this is in the best interest of Nigeria and Nigerians, why not? Thank you so much indeed. Well, that's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimade. I'll see you next time. God bless Nigeria.